Freshman year of high school is a lot for any teenager. For an autistic student, it can feel like someone changed every single rule all at once. Nobody handed them this new rule book. Now, this video is the rule book, and it is for those students living in it and the parents that are supporting them through every single day of it. Now, my son just finished his freshman year of high school. He came from a small school, a place specifically designed for students with learning differences, a place that they knew him. They prepared him beautifully for high school. They did so many different things to prepare him for what was coming next. He walked into a building with triple the number of students, 6 to 7 different teachers, a locker combination to memorize, and a schedule that changed every single period. Was it an adjustment? Absolutely it was. Were there hard days? Yes. Did he make it through? He absolutely did. And watching him find his footing through all of this, that was one of the most powerful things I have ever witnessed as his parent. Today, I want to share what we learned and what every autistic student and their family needs to know going into freshman year. Let's start with the logistics, the schedules, the lockers, and changings of class. These are the practical things, because when logistics fall apart, everything else will begin to fall apart as well. Let's look at schedules. In middle school, your child may have had 1 or 2 primary teachers. In high school, they may now have 6, 7, or 8 teachers, and each one has different expectations, different routines, a different classroom on a different part in the school. That is a lot of information to hold all at once. Before the first day, if you can get a copy of the schedule, put it in their backpack. Take a photo of it on their phone and your phone. Maybe you can tape it, a copy of it inside their locker. Color code it if that helps. The goal is that your child has never had to rely on memory alone for where they needed to be and when. Lockers. Practice the combination before school starts if you can. I seriously, go to the school during orientation or summer registration or when they have school hours and ask if you can practice it until it becomes automatic. A locker that won't open in between classes with 30 seconds to spare is a stress trigger that can derail an entire morning, an entire day. Now let's look at changing classes. I suggest that you walk the route from every class to the next before the first day. Hopefully the school provides some type of orientation for freshmen to do that. Find out where the bathrooms are between each class. For an autistic student, the sensory experience of a crowded hallway between periods can be very overwhelming. Having that mental map reduces that overwhelm significantly. I think about my son navigating those hallways for the first time, coming from a small school where everyone knew everyone, stepping into that sea of students. Having done a walkthrough together before day 1 made a real difference in his confidence walking through that door. Did he have hiccups? Yes, he did. There were a few incidents, but we made it through. After those few hiccups, he did pretty well with it. Now, let's talk about academics, the grades, the homework, and multiple teachers' expectations. Freshman year academics are going to look very different from middle school. The jump can catch students off guard, any student in general. It can be even a higher level of stress for an autistic student. Multiple teachers mean multiple expectations. Every teacher has their own system, how they want homework turned in, how they run their classroom, what they consider participation, how they consider late work. For an autistic student who thrives on consistency and clear expectations, this can be really disorienting at first. The strategy here is simple. In the first week of school, write down the expectations for every single class, not just what is on the syllabus, but the unwritten rules too. How does the teacher like to be addressed? What happens if you need to leave the room? Is it okay to ask questions during the lesson, or should they be saved for after the lesson? Also, parents, if you need to step in, that's when you can have some conversations with the classroom and make sure that your child, if he has some accommodations around homework and other expectations, make sure those are being followed and make sure you and the teacher are on the same page and your child understands as well. Here we go with homework and organization. In high school, homework comes from multiple directions all at once. A planner, digital or paper, whatever your child will actually use is not optional. It is essential. Every assignment goes in it the moment it is assigned. Every due date, every test, every progress. Now, for parents, you need to check in on that planner regularly in that first semester, or if you feel like you have to do it throughout this whole school year, do that. Not to micromanage, but to help your child build the habit until it becomes automatic. And one of the saving graces for my child was to get him this zipper organizer where it had a strap on it, and I will link that below. We were able to put color-coded photos for each subject area. It made all the difference because he could not take his backpack with him to class. They allowed that. Grades matter differently now. In high school, grades count toward the GPA, which counts toward graduation and future opportunities. This is not said to create pressure. It is said so students and families understand why keeping up matters and why reaching out for help early is so important. If your child is struggling in a class, the time to say something is week 2, not week 12. Make sure your child knows who to go to when they need academic help. Their teacher, a resource room, a tutor, a study group, and make sure that asking for help is framed as smart, not as a weakness at all. It's so important that they know who to go to and that they start building that self-advocacy muscle now. Now, let's look at the social part of this. This is a section that keeps a lot of autism parents up at night, and I want to address it honestly and with some real hope. The social landscape of high school is very complex for every teenager. For autistic students, it can feel like everyone else got a social instruction manual that they never received. Friendships are more nuanced. Social hierarchies are more pronounced. There are cliques, and there are some unspoken rules that multiply. Now, during lunch, for many autistic students, lunch is one of the hardest parts of the school day. Not because of the food, but because of the unstructured social time. Who do you sit with? What do you talk about? Who do you talk to? What do you do if there's nobody to sit with? Before that first day, talk through a plan. If there's a club that meets during lunch, a teacher whose classroom is open, a smaller quiet space in the library, having a plan for lunch removes one of the biggest daily unknowns, the social skills class. If you are choosing a school for your autistic child, ask specifically whether they offer a social skills class. My son attends a private high school that had one. They built it into his schedule. It made a real difference for him. It gave him a structured space to practice the very skills that feel most uncertain in high school. How to start a conversation, how to read a room, how to navigate the social moments that don't come naturally. Not every school offers this, but it's absolutely worth asking about and advocating for if you possibly can. Try to advocate for it. Now, making connections. My son, he came into high school with a small group of friends from his middle school. That was his foundation. He didn't start from zero. He started from familiar. Over the course of the year, he added a few new friends to that circle. That was very important for him. Now, I want every autism parent to hear this. A small circle of genuine friends is not a failure. It is actually a gift. Quality over quantity is not just a saying. For many autistic students, it is the social model that works best and feels most natural for them. We have to stop measuring success by how many friends your child has and start measuring it by whether the friendships they have feel safe and feel real. If they are safe and real, that is all that matters. Now, the confidence to initiate. My son would come home and tell me he didn't feel confident enough to walk up to someone and introduce himself, especially girls. My advice to him was simple. Just say hello, keep it light. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. You don't have to become best friends in one interaction. Just a hello will do. That is totally fine. That low pressure helped reframe, change, and it changed something for him. And I share it here because I think a lot of autistic teenagers are holding themselves to an impossible social standard, the perfect conversation, the perfect impression, when really all it takes is a simple hello and a genuine smile. Now, discernment. This is one of the most underrated social skills. Here is something my son did this year that really genuinely made me proud. He was able to look around the social landscape of his school and discern who was good for him and who wasn't. Some students were into things that weren't for him. He chose not to engage with that crowd. That is not a small thing. That is self-awareness. A young man who knows who he is and what he stands for. And that really made me proud to see him do that. Now, parents, I want you to talk to your child about this before freshman year. Not in a fearful way, but in an empowering way. Help them understand that choosing their circle carefully is a sign of strength and not isolation. That the right people will respect who they are without asking them to be someone else. Start this conversation now so that they can start to feel comfortable and know that they can come to you to talk about these different things because they are going to encounter some of these things when they go to high school. Now, the emotional side, this is the heart of it all because everything else, the academics, the logistics, the social world, is filtered through how your child is feeling on the inside. Anxiety is real and it is common. For many autistic students, the transition to high school brings a significant increase in anxiety because so much is new and uncertain all at one time. If your child was managing his anxiety well in middle school, do not assume that will automatically continue. Check in, watch for signs, make sure the supports in the IEP reflect what your child actually needs in this new environment. Build a regulation toolkit. Work with your child before freshman year to identify what helps them regulate when things feel like it's just too much. Deep breathing, a walk, music through headphones, a 5-minute break in a quiet space. Whatever works, name it, practice it, and make sure they know they're allowed to use it at school. Also check with the school to see if it's okay to do so as well. That might be something that maybe needs to be added to the IEP. Identify a trusted adult in the building. Every autistic student needs at least one person at school they can go to when things are they feel overwhelmed. A counselor, a resource teacher, a coach. It doesn't matter who it is. What matters is that your child knows who that person is before they ever need them. That relationship can be the difference between a hard moment and a crisis. For parents, watch without hovering. This is one of the hardest balancing acts of high school parenting. You want to know everything. I did. I wanted to know everything. You want to fix everything. I wanted to do that too. But your child also needs space to struggle, to problem solve, and to grow. And it's very hard. It was hard for me watching. Here's things you could do. Check in daily, but keep it light. What was one okay thing today? gets more answers than how was school. Create a space for the hard conversations without forcing them, and trust that the foundation you have built together will hold, even on the days that it doesn't feel like it. I had moments this past year where I wanted to step in, and sometimes I did, probably shouldn't have, and I wanted to fix things for my son. I had to remind myself my job right now is to be a safe place that he comes back to, not the person who removes every obstacle before he reaches it, because it has to be a learning lesson that he needs to know how to get through it. So hopefully you have those conversations. Your child feels comfortable enough to come to you to talk about them, or you can ask the right questions. They will open up. Now, what can parents do right now? Before freshman year, here is your action list. 1, visit the school. Walk the hallways, find every classroom, practice the locker. Do this more than once if you can. Number 2, update the IEP. Make sure that every accommodation reflects the high school environment specifically. Extended time, testing accommodation, check-ins with a case manager. Review all of it before day 1. Number 3, introduce yourself to the special education team. Don't wait for back to school night. Reach out before the school year begins. Hopefully you can be able to do that and share who your child is, their strengths, their interests, their triggers, what helps them regulate. I will tell you, I reached out to the school that he's going to before he started and talked with the special education, the head intervention specialist, and that made all the difference. Number 4, identify the trusted adult. If you can, before the first day, make sure your child knows who their go-to person is in that building. Number 5, build the toolkit together. Sit down with your child and talk through what freshman year might feel like. What are they excited about? What are they nervous about? Or what do they need from you? That conversation alone will tell you a lot. Number 6, celebrate everything. Made it through the first week, found the classroom, talked to one person at lunch. These are not small things. These are enormous. Treat them that way. Now, my son just finished the freshman year. He did well academically. He found his circle, a small, genuine group of friends who see him and value him, and vice versa. He learned to say hello, even when it felt scary. He navigated peer pressure with more wisdom than most adults give teenagers credit for. He came home at the end of the year a little taller, a little more confident, and a little more himself than when he started. Was it perfect? No. Were there hard days? Yes, absolutely. But he made it through. And watching him find his footing was one of the most powerful things I have ever witnessed as his parent. Freshman year is hard for your child and for you. There will be days that stretch both of you further than you thought possible. There will also be moments that are quiet, ordinary, extraordinary moments where you watch your child figure something out on their own, where they come home tired, but they're okay, where they find one person who gets them, where they surprise themselves, which is so important as well. These moments are worth every hard day that leads to them. Believe me when I say that. It really, truly is. You have been advocating for your child since the very beginning. Freshman year is just the next chapter. You are both ready more than you know. If this video helped you, please share it with an autism parent or student who is heading into freshman year this fall. Drop your questions or your own freshman year survival tips in the comments. I read every single one. This community learns so much from each other. Put your comments below and I will be reading them and I will be responding. Don't forget to subscribe for more autism and special education support every single week. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.